We have 3 items on the agenda tonight. We just have a couple of ground rules. Ask you to turn your cell phone off, which I should do. And when you speak into one of the microphones, either at the lectern or at the table. If you have drawings to show, you can put them on the table where Matt's putting them now, because they will be seen by a camera and shown on the local channel as the board meeting is televised. Okay, so our first item tonight is DRB-09-36, Health Power. This is a continuation from last month's meeting. It's a design for an awning, and Mr. McCurry's here, I guess, for the owner.
Yes, good evening. Don Mercury, Sign and Awning. Good evening. I was contracted by Winter after they were up here last month. And do you all have copies of this?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Recent copy?
Yes.
I guess they were up here, and they had a lettering or some sort of logo on top of the valance on the slope, which is not allowed. So we revised it to where it should be by the code. Sombrella awning, 1-inch square tube aluminum frame. It's 30 inches high, 34 inches extension. It's got like a 12-inch valance, and the letters will be under 8 inches. Health Power, 610 phone number, and 120 will be right around 6 inches.
So the bottom, last time she came in, she had the bottom at 8 feet, so it's above 7.6 or something in terms of walking.
Yeah, it's right at the right below the overhang, and we took the sign down. There's a little open section that will be cleaned up and painted to match the aluminum.
Okay.
Dom, I think last time when you presented, you were doing 2 or 3 other awnings right in a row there, right? The Blue Horse, and so is this just going to be similar to those?
Yes.
Okay, and where does it sit? I know a couple of those are offset, right? Because just the way the grade of the natural grade falls. There'll be a space between this one and the one adjacent to it. Is there?
Yeah, this one will fall. This one, there's
What's on either side
a
of
fascia.
this
There's a fascia, aluminum fascia there.
Right.
And it's approximately 30 inches high, so it's going to fit right over there. Now, the width of this is, I didn't bring my glasses, but it's 108 inches. Is that a 198?
It says 198.
198. So the fascia itself is probably maybe 204 inches. It's just a tad because we got to fit the Z-clips inside there. And
are you going to take that fascia off? Was it a box that had?
There was a
State
box
Farm?
sign. There was a box sign. I don't have any pictures because I just.
How come, Don? Usually bring pictures.
I was looking in my digital, but basically it's just going to cover that fascia. That fascia is aluminum, and there was a cutout section that we found old tile from maybe 50, 60 years ago.
Behind the fascia?
Behind the fascia. And what we're going to do is cover that up with aluminum, and then paint it where it matches the fascia. The fascia is a standard aluminum, like a beige aluminum.
You mean that's what's there right now?
Yeah.
And sorry, the front of the building. How is that going to match with the front of the building, the fascia? And are we going to see that?
No, you won't see it at all because it'll be.
If you stand under the awning, will you see it?
You won't. You'll see an aluminum sheeting that'll match the fascia. It'll be all painted the same color. I told both owners. I told the owner of this establishment that we should paint that whole fascia to match.
So what color is the front of the building going to be?
There's a window underneath it.
Sure, seen that.
And there's a door on both sides. So then the fascia starts with perpendicular ridged aluminum. And we're just going to paint that all beige. No, I'm sorry. I'll take that back. It's gray wood that runs parallel to gray wood.
Without photographs, this is like once upon a time. Have to talk us through these things. I can't visualize this thing.
Well, in the package that they submitted last month, did they Did they submit some
Somebody had
photographs?
pictures. I can't remember if it was her or your other client.
And I don't have that. I wonder, I don't know if maybe Matt just stepped out. Maybe he went to see, could you wait and we'd see if he has those? Because
I have a digital camera that I might have a photo on it.
I'd like to see what it's going to be like next to the others. I'd just like to see how you're going to repair or make the building look, look good.
Right.
I see it all the time. So I just went by, I saw that you just have a temporary sign up there right now.
Right, that covers the area that was
Yeah.
vacated by the, see, the sign that was up there was taken down. It was
Was that all,
an
was that State Farm or is that, no?
State Farm.
That's State Farm, okay.
State
Oh,
Farm.
look, he has, from last week's, great,
Okay, that's it.
or last
So the
month.
State Farm box sign is coming down.
Yeah, that's down.
That's going to disappear. All right.
And you can see behind it is a gray layered wood.
If I get, Steve, can you zoom in on this, please?
They can see those photos right there.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Oh, all right.
Hey, thanks, man.
Here.
Thanks,
Have you
Mike.
seen it lately?
It's 2,000.
I know there's like a lace curtain going from here down, and then above here is that big poster. Yeah.
Standard aluminum.
But you can, I see this.
No, we can put it underneath it.
So what do you think? He wants to put in a flat piece behind there. The awning is going to be in front of it. Is that right? Do I understand?
Okay.
Yeah, because there's a little return there, so where the State Farm sign is, probably 6 inches in front of the horizontal, right? The back
Yeah.
of it?
Yeah, the State Farm sign we took down,
Right.
and there was a little return made out of wood
Right.
that we also took down.
Oh,
So
you
now what you see is the wood that's running, I guess, parallel to the ground, not shingles, but
Above the
layered
door.
wood.
The part above the door.
Yeah, right above the door.
Well, no, I'm sorry, let me get straight. There'll be horizontal wood to the left, then a solid panel.
Yeah.
Then horizontal wood again.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's all painted the same
Yeah.
color, I don't have a
Now,
problem.
is the awning going over in front of the door also, or just over that window? Does it just?
Oh, the awning is going over the entire
Continuous.
fascia, the entire fascia.
Right.
I mean, if I can go to Do It Best and buy pieces of plywood that match that height, I'm going to cut them to size, and there's only about 5 of them, and we'll just fit them in there.
Okay.
I offered to, we will paint that whole section to match. And you'll see a nice, clean continuation of the wood with maybe just a cut where the new panels will go in.
Sounds good. I just wanted to know that it was going to be improved.
Oh,
not,
yeah.
We're taking this down, going to put the awning up, and you'll still see the unrepaired.
Yeah,
Does the awning start under that gutter?
under the gutter,
Just under the gutter? The awning starts just under the gutter?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what are you going to do with the push pads on the doors that say State Farm?
push pads.
See those little State Farm logos on the door?
Oh, they're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone. They don't have anything up.
Okay.
They have shade, they have blinds right now, half
Now,
blinds.
yeah, and I have a question about that. I don't know that that's really your responsibility, but I see that they have like a lace curtain 3/4 of the way up, or
Yes.
maybe maybe 2/3. And then above that, they have a big sign like this in their window that shows a diagram of the foot, and I guess illustrates what reflexology is. But what is the ruling on that? So they have a curtain, a lace curtain, the bottom 2/3, but then above that, this big poster. Can they?
I didn't realize they already have signage up.
It's a poster inside their window.
Oh.
And it's pretty
Well, it's
big.
limited to 20%.
Yeah, it only-
The code doesn't address
but-
curtains.
I think what they
Yeah.
did was, I think before we submitted a banner application and
Correct.
put a banner up there, I did.
Yeah.
For them. And I think they had that up before the banner went up. It's just a paper sign. So I think.
It's not a sign, you know what, it's not, it's a pretty intricate poster or illustration.
Illustration of a feet,
Yeah,
a
a foot
foot.
with all the, yeah. But it takes up, I don't know if you cover your window with curtain and then add this, does the curtain count in the calculation?
Yeah, right, Jim. I mean, we're gonna
I would-
whatever the glass area is.
That's what I would say,
Yeah.
because you're trying to avoid clutter.
Yeah,
And the curtain, albeit not transparent, is not
Well, I'll explain
signage.
to them that they're only allowed 20% of the window,
Yeah, I
and
would say
that they
the whole
should fill it
glass.
up with some sort of decorative vinyl that'll be tastefully done. I mean, I pointed up and down the street,
Yeah.
across the street by the new Cole spa, day spa. You have little vinyl bullets. I point to them and say that would be, that would be acceptable
Right.
to Radnor Township standards. What they have up there now, I don't think they fully understand the 20%, but it will be explained to them.
I just would like to help them. So
Oh,
what
yeah.
I'm thinking is, I was guessing that curtain might be for privacy, because I don't know how they've broken up the space inside, and maybe someone who's, getting some kind of massage doesn't want to be, they want to have privacy, so they would need to put something else to create.
Oh, it's all open. Everything is open inside there. And I think the only reason why they had they had that up previous to the banner. And I've seen them maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 times in the past week. And it just, I have to tell them, or you guide me to tell them if that's not acceptable to go into a direction of a vinyl.
I
You know.
understand.
Well-
It's a massage parlor,
No,
but they don't have any,
no,
any,
it's like,
you can see in there.
Yeah, you can see in there. I mean, well, they have booths back there that only go up 6 feet.
Oh, okay, so they do have something in there.
Yeah, you can see through the window, and they have all their individual stations that only go up about 6 feet. It's very open. They got a desk.
so you really actually can't see through the window now.
You can see through the window except for that paper sign.
Did they take the curtain down since
Oh,
yesterday?
the curtains are only
Yeah.
up to halfway.
Yeah, I know. I walk by it like every day, so I know the curtain, how much the curtain covers, and then the sign fits in above the curtain, and
Right.
it takes up a large portion. So what I was thinking is, if they need that curtain to create privacy, what they want to do is something like, a screen of some type inside the window. The way Gap has the big poster, but it's inside their window. It doesn't cover their window. It's allowed, but what they've done is cover their window.
Yeah.
And that's what I think you need to talk to them about, or someone does, so that they can, comply and make it look as I'm sure they want it to look.
Oh, they
nice.
really, it's real.
Yeah.
I just think they're not, I think once the awning goes up and they're fully educated about, vinyl graphics that they can do on their window up above or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
In addition, obviously, they have their phone number here and the name of their business. So maybe they can put a secondary copy, 4 or 5 inches white or something on the window.
Do you make those vinyl pieces?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, this is enough signage, isn't it? Isn't this enough signage to tell us health powers?
But they're allowed 20%
They're
of the
allowed
glass
20%.
area. We can't deny them that.
Well, I mean, if you're telling me to tell them, I'm going to tell them to try and limit it to 20% of the window, and that the design and review board doesn't really like that paper sign covering it up. I mean, I guess I'm looking for your direction.
I haven't seen the sign, so but from my standpoint,
Well, I
I agree
think
with
we
Matt
should-
that they are limited to 20% of the glass
I
area.
think we should all take a look at it. I think.
Yeah, I mean, they're very, very friendly people. I don't think they'll have a problem, making any changes to the window.
So we could approve this, because this is, or have a motion about this, and then we'd have to go by and look and see what they have going with the window.
I agree with you 100%. I think that sign, if they want to show a display of the foot and the spine or whatever whatever they want to show, it could be miniaturized. It could, just like you see those little things on the window from the previous picture. They can make that very miniature. If that's
Yeah, they could
if
shrink
that's
that down.
important to them. But I'll tell them that they're only allowed 20% of the window, and they got to go in a different direction from that full coverage of a foot
And the curtain,
and the curtain.
yeah. The curtain doesn't look temporary to me, Dom.
Well, the curtain probably is permanent.
Yeah.
We
But
didn't
it's-
approve the curtain, did we?
No, we can't approve the curtain. It doesn't, the
it's
curtain is
inside the
not,
building, we
it's
can't-
over 20% of, it covers over 20%
Oh,
of the window.
a curtain is signage? I don't know.
No,
I never-
curtain is window coverage, right? Did we, I mean,
We
we've
have
asked other
nothing to
people.
do with curtains that are inside a glass.
Oh, so they can just leave that up? Okay, that's what
Yeah.
I was, that's
It's
what,
not
I'm
part
sorry, I
of a
didn't word my
facade.
question while I was trying to figure out if they can have the curtain or not.
No,
So,
if the curtain was filled with patterns or signage on the curtain,
no, it's just lace. All right.
Dom, one thing on this, and this is a little tricky, but you've centered health power, and obviously I can see why you've done that. But the fact that the phone number is much more dense and bigger than longer than the address, it looks a little off balance. And I don't think shifting health power off center I think it's better for health power to be on center where you've got it. But it does look a little off balance. Is there any way maybe to dial down the telephone number a bit, an inch or two, to give you a little more burgundy between the 3 and the phone number and health power, just so it doesn't look so top-heavy to the left?
I mean, is your suggestion to move health power to the right?
I don't think that's the right thing to do. That would help with the balance, obviously, but then it's off balance in another way because the name of the store is off center. Do you know
Well,
what I'm saying?
we could shrink it. I'll shrink it like 10% or something like that. I mean, it does look off balance. It is proportionally centered.
No, I know. I understand that.
But we'll tell them to. We'll tell my artists to shrink it.
I think it'd make it a little less disjunctive.
Oh yeah, I think it can go smaller and still be effective.
But I think health power should be in the center. I agree with you.
Did you take a look at it with the number flipped? Put the phone on the right and the address on the left? In my visual courses in college, the right-hand corner, lower right, is where you're supposed to put the weight.
The lower.
The lower right-hand corner of any art object is the preferred human perception area for heavier pieces.
Okay.
Mike, that's a straight.
Actually, that's not a bad idea too, Don, because that would put 120 over the door.
Put 120 over to the left.
Yeah,
then
Mike's
one-
saying just flip
good
it. That
idea.
would put 120 over the doors, which would seem a little more logical.
And I think, as you were saying, if it was just a little bit smaller, it would probably also aid in letting the health power portion stand forth.
Stand out, yeah.
Yeah, I think we can do that.
Okay. All right, any other comments, Matt? Tony?
I'm fine.
Okay. Does somebody want to make a motion?
Sure.
Cindy?
Okay, I move that we approve the awning on DRB 0936 Health Power. I move that we approve the awning as proposed with the following change. The street address of 120 be switched to go on the left side of the awning, and the telephone number to the right, and also that the telephone number and the street address be shrunk down to less than they are now. Are you saying 10%?
Well, whatever
Or
Don
a little-
thinks
yeah.
works for the owner and also, but would just make it a little less busy there.
So is that an acceptable?
At least 10%.
Please.
Second.
Is that an adequate motion?
Second?
Do you need this?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a
Okay.
good evening.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you. Thank you very much, man.
Good night, Don.
Okay, the second item, on the agenda is DRB-09-40, Baker Properties, 311 Lancaster Avenue in Wayne, for a facade renovation. Welcome.
Yeah.
If you could just introduce yourself.
Good evening. I'm Ed Goodwin from Thomas E. Hall and Associates. We're the architect on the project. I see we have a big crowd here tonight.
That table's got a bad scratch in it. They should do something like that.
All the more attention for you. I like the rendering. This is like, we've got a year. We started in September. Did it? Yeah, I just keep chronological September.
Pardon?
This is the act.
Yeah. So why don't you just walk us through it? I see you have some existing photographs. I think all of us know
The
parts that we're
center.
talking about.
Basically, we're renovating the front facade and converting an existing supermarket and pharmacy into a multi-tenant, kind of high-end retail center.
Where's the market?
Pardon me?
Where's the market?
Where's the bargain?
Market.
It's gone.
It's gone. It will be gone.
I see.
I believe Acme's consolidating a store in Bryn Mawr, so they'll be building like a superstore in Bryn Mawr.
That
A
store
proposed
they have?
superstore? Not the Haverford store.
No, right in, it's, I guess on the, right where the Jaguar dealership is located.
Oh,
There's an Acme there now. I think they're going to tear everything down and build a larger store there and consolidate.
oh, spread, because they could go west from theirs to
And
go
there's
over
one in
there.
Devon. Devon.
So the Acme unfortunately will be leaving when their lease is up. So basically what we're proposing is if,
if you see it looks like there's an addition put on the front of the building, 10 or 15 years ago. We're basically going to remove all that new construction back to the original, what was the original facade of the building, and then carve out a piece of the center to create an outdoor plaza. And then we're going to basically put a whole new facade on the front with multi-tenant doors.
And this stepping of the facade, that's existing?
Yeah.
Well, you said you're going back to the existing. Where in your site plan is the existing facade?
It's probably easier to see in
Not the
the aerial
addition.
photograph. You see where all that green roof is and those towers?
Yeah, no, I know that was the addition from 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's
but-
all going to be scraped.
But when that gets scraped, what was originally behind that? Just straight?
Yeah, it was a straight CMU wall with an infill with columns and beams.
Okay, and where in your site plan, I know it's not existing because you're putting a new facade on, but is it back at that indentation, or are you then coming back out, I guess is my point.
Is it on one of these pages that shows, does it show that,
I think he said he was cutting into it, right?
I think I saw it, no, I didn't see it
Probably
earlier.
better.
Like, I thought it was on the plan view.
There you go.
The new facade is basically, like a foot, 18 inches thick. And we're removing this area of the building to create this plaza. But we're just pasting on a new facade right on to the existing
Okay.
original face
So
of the
the
building.
indentation there is behind the old facade.
Correct, we're
Okay.
carving out a portion of the existing structure.
All right.
So there's this, it looks like there are more offsets maybe in the rendering than there actually are. Is that right? Am I right about that?
No, the only offset is where we're carving out of the building.
Okay.
There's
You know what I mean on these?
offset
Like,
entries that are,
they're-
the
okay.
glass is indented.
Okay,
but
that's,
the
I guess what I'm
facade is
thinking,
pretty
like-
much,
There's
some
some-
pilasters and so forth.
You know, like there's one that shows like a little outdoor eating area. Which is-
Correct, but those have roof over top of them.
Okay, so
They're
that's,
not-
that's actually the facade is the, okay, great.
Correct.
great, I
So
see.
we've kind of carved out underneath. The roof still comes out to that perimeter line.
Do you have tenants? I mean, I know this is not a part of our whole review, I was just wondering.
I know they're talking to some tenants, but I don't know what the
Mm-hmm.
status is on any kind of leases.
What are you doing with directionals?
You mean like tenant signage or?
No, like on the street level? Enter
In,
here.
out.
What's on the?
Well, actually, Matt, let's go through the facade first, then come to, because there's going to be a lot of signage to go over too.
Well, signage is on the tenant, so that wasn't going to be a part of this.
Okay, I understand.
But we've kind of designated where they were and.
But you will be
location.
doing directional, or somebody will for Baker, obviously, monument sign, that type thing.
Yes, well, we're not addressing that, I'm understanding right now, but we
Right
can
now,
talk
you're
about
only-
it.
First, just the facade, that's
Just
all
the
we're here for
facade,
tonight.
that's what
Okay.
we're trying to get your approval on.
Okay.
You want to tell us anything else, or?
What are you going to do with the sides? Are you going to finish the sides?
the west side, we're going to paint and clean up. That's mostly below grade because there's a real change in elevation. There's an office building. But
Yeah, one of the distressing things I always see in this type of project that is very quite handsome is that a lot of times it's just like a movie set, and they don't finish the sides.
on the east side, we're going to turn the tower, and then we'll paint and put new ephes on the side, put score lines, break up the scale. So that'll pretty much be all cleaned up and have a new cornice, and we'll, like I said, we're turning the corner with the tower and the stone. And then the back of the building will just be painted.
Can you just talk about the facade a little bit, your concept for it? Did you bring materials?
Yes, I have materials in the
Okay.
back.
We'd like to go over that.
Basically, the palette of materials is a manufactured stone. We have some hand-laid brick and ephes and awnings, but the awnings will be provided by the tenants, and I'll go grab the materials.
But we make them do that, or we make the individual tenants?
I think it's just among ourselves. I've always thought of Wayne as being a town of gables. Didn't have gables.
Not really.
Yeah. Look, a lot of the buildings, you'll see the majority of the buildings are gables. Yeah.
Bank, the movie theater block, gardens, the opera house, they're all flat.
This section of town doesn't have gables.
Well, other than the houses, it's all flat.
Well,
What do you call this section of the town? You know, we have the Wayne, like, business.
Wayne Business
Business
Overlay
overlay.
District. Is
And
this
then
in the
there's the
business
historic-
overlay?
is
This
it-
property's not. Right,
This is
C2. Okay.
The material, the synthetic stone, this is the sample of, that'll be a dry stack stone.
Can you hold that up for us? I mean, I'm glad you put it there, but just so,
So in the rendering, any place you see the stone, this is what's going to be there.
Dry stack, so there's no mortar.
There's no mortar. It gives it more of, I think, a contemporary look.
A little darker than the renderings was, right?
Is that the
Yeah, I think
color
we're
you're
going to try
going
to
to
get
use?
some more browns than that, but that's the closest I could get for today. And then this was the brick. That would be any place we have brick in the rendering.
can you hold that up too, sir? Can I just see that?
So that's also just a facade, right? I mean, it's a,
That will be a true hand-laid brick. It's a glazed brick with a little bit of iron spot in it. It's a really nice.
but is it true brick? or
Yeah,
is
it'll
it
be
that
true
thick? Oh.
brick, hand-laid.
it's not a veneer. Like
It's not a veneer. It'll be a full bed joint.
Is your intention with the cultured stone to be that rustic? I mean, I know it's dry laid, but in terms of the variation between the surfaces?
Yeah, we like the texture to it. We thought it was gave some contemporary feel to than kind of a rounded field stone.
I don't know, I like the dry lay, but
I do too.
you see a lot of that nowadays, and sometimes you see it done very well, like, I mean, Nectar's very nice looking, Kelly's is pretty nice looking, but you also see it sometimes, it's hard, well, I don't have to tell you guys, as architects, you sit in a room, you look at a panel this high, and then you put it up, 800 square feet.
You go,
Well, we'll probably have a
Whoa.
mock-up done. And
But I mean, even a photograph of that on a building, and I'm sure you guys have looked at it, it's just hard for me to tell.
I mean, we could probably talk to Quality Stone and try to find a building or something that's.
That might be nice. I can't say if it's bad. I like the dry lay, and I like the sort of the ashlar cut of the squareness. I'm just not sure, and it could be great in terms of the way, the variation in the surface. And it might need to be because it's a pretty big facade.
Well, he's got it broken up. I was
Right.
going to ask you, you've got the entry points that you create little towers, and they're all stone, save one in the middle.
Yeah, we tried to break the mass up and try to keep it from seeing this linear marching on of little storefronts. So we created a plaza, we created some corner and tower elements, and
And is the banding, you have the little mini facades, the brick, the stone, et cetera, and then you have the banding around the awning and the tenant signage. Is that ephes too?
that'll be an ephes. It'll probably be a Canamold product, which is a pre-made trim that you put around, but it looks like,
So it's going to look more like a
it'll have this same
cast
finish.
stone.
Yeah.
Is that the finish?
This is the ephes, the area above the awnings. and
Because I
between
think
the
it should
stone.
look, I don't know what everybody else thinks, but it should look more in the world of stone than cut stone,
Yeah, I don't like-
albeit synthetic.
What we can do is add
Than-
some
than actually
joining in
ephes.
it some horizontal joints in it, so it'll look like it's stone. But
think
the
it's a
finish
good
is real,
What
looks like
stone is it supposed to look like? Like
a limestone.
Yeah.
What's that?
What,
The
what's your,
bands at
because
all,
it's fake.
or what it is?
This whole facade?
It looks like anywhere USA. I mean,
well,
it doesn't
before
look
we
like-
get
doesn't look like
onto that,
rain at all.
let's finish with the materials,
No.
because I'm
Looks like you
seeing
picked
you've got,
something out
Well, it reminds me of like
Anywhere.
A
the
base
new,
material, right?
the
Yes,
new-
the base material is it's a product by Schuldeis, and it's to look like a limestone. This
is
is,
that a cast stone piece?
it's an actual, like a CMU piece, but here you can see the finish.
It's CMU with a ground face kind of?
architectural CMU.
where is that? Is that on the base? of
Yeah.
the-
That's the base of the piers.
You know, I'm interested, you've said a couple of times, we thought that looked more contemporary, this looks more contemporary, but I think one of the, you know, it's just personally speaking, it's probably not our role to try to change the design, but I sort of think Wayne prides itself on its historic feeling and that it's a town that's been around for a long time. And so, you know, to me, I love the rendering. I think it looks, you know, inviting, fun, fresh, but it also kind of looks like the new outlets up in Limerick. You know, it's like a fake village.
Did you guys look at any other
Were there any
like-
other?
thoughts on this? I mean, like she said, it's a great rendering. It looks really, really nice.
It doesn't look like Wayne.
It doesn't. It looks like everywhere else.
I mean, we went through a series of concepts with the owner and
Yeah.
feedback, and this is kind of where, their likes and tastes were as well.
It's,
Did you all and/or Baker who did like the White Dog in that development?
We were the same.
You guys did that?
And, yeah, we did that one as well.
And I think going to that point, and you have your client to deal with and everything like that, I would agree with what you all are saying. That looks terrific.
That looks
Because
awesome.
it is interesting architecturally, and yet it's more tailored. It's a little more downtown versus, big
Any
box,
town. This is just like-
retailer. So I personally would, and even like the awnings on here, granted it's just a rendering, and it's retail and not office, so you're going to be, all those tenants are going to want their thing. But, if you go to, even the outskirts of, I don't know, a lot of historic places, even the outlet malls are usually, and I'm not saying this looks like an outlet mall, because the scale's all different, but they tend to be toned down, they tend to be, you're buying into Wayne, they're buying into Wayne, and not Exton, and that's the difference.
Well, I think what's nice about this is the plaza. So I guess when you look at the black and white elevation, you're seeing it as all flat, but there's a recess there, there's a fountain, yeah.
well, I'm mostly focusing on this, which, again,
And that's what
it's a nice rendering, but
It
it's so uniform.
It doesn't look
and-
even remotely close to Wayne.
What would you, can you give me an example of what
Historically, you go
Wayne?
through Wayne, I've always seen it as a town of gables.
I mean, is there existing property that you?
You know what, I just saw a property, I don't know if this is anything like, and so out of town that I can't believe I'm going to mention it, but it's down in the Charleston area. It's a fake village that they made a shopping area in a resort town called Kiowa. But it's got a lot of different materials, and I don't know my materials like these guys do, but some of it looks like barnwood, some of it looks like, it doesn't look like it was all built at the same time, but it was, so they have, what's that, metal siding? Do you know what I'm saying? When you see metal siding, and then some looks like a barn, and like this, offset, but I wouldn't even begin to know where to say, I just wanted to mention that it doesn't look like Wayne to me. I don't know if we're too far gone to actually
Well,
make any changes.
if there was a building that you particularly, when you think of Wayne, what?
When I think of Wayne, I think of the movie theater.
I think of Anthropology,
I
the
think
movie
of
theater.
anything along Wayne Avenue, that kind of look and feel. Again, Wayne is a special place for a reason. When you walk around it, I like the little plaza part, as you call it. I just think that what this looks like looks like every other town in this area, and people are coming in to. Anthropology is a nice building, but this again just looks. It doesn't look good
I mean,
here.
it has a discount outlet look.
Well, you can still look upscale, but I'm thinking, what are those?
No, it looks upscale. It
Britain
just looks
Lakes, do you know
upscale.
that?
Let me just argue the other side for a second. If you look at the elevation, you guys have the big paper drawings?
We do have the big paper drawings. Which
I
one do you want?
personally don't think it's as much, because I think Cindy, the art, as part of the Charleston thing, is the variety of materials, and they have a variety of materials. I think
true,
it's
but-
the rendering, which probably knocked
Looks too
your,
glassy.
your client's socks off, because they say, wow, people are really going to want to go in there. But I think with
Well, you're
a
right.
similar treatment, with toning down some of the color, some of the material, and tailoring it a little bit more, the way you all did over, you know, up the street there, I think would go a long way toward that. Because I don't think you can do, I mean, it's not, there is all this neo-urbanism like Celebration Florida or Eagle View, and you're not.
This isn't it.
It's the open
This
concrete.
is a pad
It's-
site. It's
it's-
not,
it's
even though
the-
it's in Wayne.
I'd like to say
Understood, but
in
it's the-
topology, what they did there. I mean, they didn't do a lot to make it different, but it is real, I mean, they took the same building and, you know, made the changes that were
But they
necessary.
barely did anything to that
Yeah.
building. They
But
just
it
put the
did it-
glass in and the trellis.
Maybe it's the landscaping, the way they integrated that, and the arbor coming off the front, and
Right.
even their signage is unique, that made it just, yeah, it looks like a historic building that.
I mean, we picked up in the front of the stores, we picked up the paving pattern of the town. We used the same light fixtures and
You know what I think it
and,
is? And again,
benches
I'm
and-
not a
I think it's just
licensed-
probably the rendering.
No, I think it's all the exposed flat concrete. And the colors don't help either, but
I'm not sure, I lost you on the exposed concrete.
on the facade.
Probably that stuff.
You mean
Then the ethos?
The ethos.
Yeah.
What is ethos?
It's just an exterior insulation
like
finishing
stucco.
system. It's
like
stucco.
And
Looks like
how do you
stucco.
apply it? Is
Like
it
drive it.
sprayed on, or is it
You
applied?
go- Insulation
Drive
goes
it
up
as
first, and then over that, you put a wire mesh, and then you trowel on.
Oh, you
what-
trowel it on? Okay.
But it allows you to give you some reveals and breaks up the scale and mass of
So were you
big-
saying that as you show the marks in this, the far left, you're going to try to do that
Yeah, you
across-
do all that to
behind
break the
other
scale of
sides,
it down.
too?
You have some reveals.
And I didn't mean to say it isn't attractive, because it just really is. It looks, but it just didn't look like Wayne. It does more in this elevation, you're right.
I think that you're on the right track in terms of trying to break down the scale of the place. I know that Tom Hall has a kind of a feature that he uses in a lot of his buildings, which is one of his signature pieces, which is the heavy cornice line. And when you see that, you know it's a Thomas E. Hall building, and I think that's fine.
Mhm.
I think that you may have gone just one step too far with this rendering especially in two areas. My first comment is I think that we need to talk about awnings, because I don't think we want it to look like the rainbow out there. And in the rendering, that's very distracting to me.
Okay.
If I in my mind's eye say, you know, all
Like
those
those black.
awnings are some uniform, sophisticated color that goes nicely with your other color patterns, and
Like Radnor
there's a-
Hotel, didn't we ask them to do them all the same?
those are
color,
all, yeah, those are
charcoal?
all
black.
black.
All black, yeah.
And I'm not saying that black has to be
One's
the
a
color,
straighter black.
but, you know, some color
The white dog.
that isn't zippy,
They did that.
Yeah, I think they
startle
did a great
my
job.
eyeball, and so varied across the thing, if it's more of a uniform approach. Then I start to think, all right, well, how, you know, what's good and maybe could be improved with the balance of the design? And I think what I'm thinking to myself is the base material, this material here, it seems to me like you have maybe one too many things going on here. You have the base material here, which in and of itself is pretty nice, and it certainly is going to stand up to kids kicking it with their bicycles and all that good stuff. So I can understand putting a material like this, a hard material, at the base. I could also understand maybe not having a base material at all, though, and running either the brick or the sticky stone all the way down to grade, and maybe losing a little bit of that visual busyness at the base. That's something that I might think about. And then the other thing I look at is the wrap that you have around the stone areas in particular, because you didn't do it at the brick. If you were going to go with this as a base, wouldn't you think about going with this as the wrap? Because I'm sure you can have a cast piece made out of this, which would then eliminate your canomold material from the equation and therefore reduce the number of materials. So that's another possibility.
What's the wrap material right now?
It's something called canomold, but it's
It's a
basically
ethos
looks
trim,
like-
basically.
Okay.
Can I see?
Drive.
Mind?
Would it actually, if you went with the ethos trim, would it be white, or would it be the same cream color that this?
It'd be a contrast, it'd be a white trimmed contrast to the
Okay.
kind of beige.
And, you know, I think I might have sounded harsh. I want to say, it looks so much better than what we have now, that it's really going to, it's part of kind of the gateway when you come into the actual town of Wayne. So it's a real improvement, and I think that it'll draw people in. I'm sure you'll get good tenants.
Now, the signage, some of the signage, you have lights affiliated with the sign location, others don't. What's the thinking there?
Well, the one without the lights, that was something a tenant was looking at and not wanting, they have their own sign. So we're just kind of placeholders.
There's actually 4 without lights.
Rain?
Is that rain?
So was the idea that those were going to be internally illuminated signs?
That would be, in that location, if the tenant did us their own sign, that it was going to be internally illuminated.
So we have some that are face illuminated and some that are.
Well, at this point, I don't even, we don't know. We
That's
have
not
to-
you, though.
That's not
You're
us,
asking
but,
for that right now, right?
yeah, no, and I
But
don't
the
know.
signage program is clearly being thought through here. So, you know, one of the things, that obviously, we're going to get it back, right?
Yes.
So we want to make sure we understand the program, as we have done in some other places. We want to kind of spell out what are the rules of the game going to be.
Well, the place markers we have there are how we interpret the zoning code. But if they're gooseneck lights or they're backlit lights, at this point, I don't,
They're all under 15 feet, they're
Yeah.
in the right place.
Correct,
The
and-
letter sizes are all
No,
going to
the
be,
letter sizes right now are 24 inches.
well, that's
That's
obviously
way-
not what we're going to want to
But
see.
it is a good point that you're not coming for signage per se, but if you're asking us to approve gooseneck lamps on a facade,
Are you?
thinking,
Yeah, we
well,
have
yeah,
lighting in the
thinking
packet.
forward, I'm very loath to approve something where, the way it's designed currently, you would have to have rear illuminated signage in 5 locations, and you're going to have goosenecks in 4 or 5 locations, because it's going to look like a, you know, A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B.
I mean, aren't they just showing where signage is dedicated?
Yes, but he's got goosenecks are above certain ones and no goosenecks above others. So that, I mean, that's kind of in the category of the
Why can't it
multicolored
be
awnings.
different? I mean, why can't they have? pinned
Because
on
if you're
letters?
driving by there at night, Tony, every other tenant is going to have a rear illuminated,
Or a pin mount sign.
but it has to be illuminated from within, because it has no
Or it
goosenecks.
could be a channel letter.
You're going to see a dark facade with red letters saying Mattress Giant.
That's
Whatever.
Steve, I think.
And then, yeah, right. And then next to that, you're going to have a wash of light over something saying Pottery Barn.
I mean, we can remove the goosenecks or put them in every location. I mean, we could, you know, there's a number of ways we could treat that.
I think consistency is something that we're going to want to see a little bit more of in the signage program. Whether it's all goosenecks and pin-mounted letters, or whether it's all goosenecks and carved signs. But it goes back to my initial comment of there's just a little bit too much going on here.
Okay.
And, you know, I happen to know from real retailers that what they want you looking at is what's inside their windows. So.
But from the street, they have to draw you in. So
From,
Yeah,
from
they want
some,
curb
from
appeal,
to a
too.
certain point of view, you want it to be interesting enough that people come in and look at it, which I don't think you're gonna have any problem with, but I think once you're there, you also want to have a certain calm quality to the thing that ties it all together, at least at a certain level. Because it's clearly one building. It's not a downtown that occurred over time.
Correct.
It has nothing to do with that incremental construction notion.
If you're asking opinions, which you are technically by being here, my overall opinion is that while very nice, it looks fake. It looks like fake material. I mean, it is fake material. It's not real stone, which is very, very nice in somebody else's backyard. It just doesn't fit with the Wayne, what I view as the Wayne approach. And it looks like something was lifted up from someplace else and just recycled here in Wayne.
I mean, if we went to a field stone instead of the dry stack, is that,
I'd have to see it. I can't really, but like.
I mean, 200 West Lancaster is a completely different animal and different lines and,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
it's a
no,
contemporary building.
Personally, I'd rather see.
I would rather see that.
Personally, I'd rather see that. That is more
I don't
Where's
think,
that?
dressy than fieldstone.
When you
Fieldstone is
see-
even more
Jim,
rustic.
Jim,
when
where
you
is,
see that wall,
where's 200? What-
The way where
The one up the
white
road
dog-
where the white dog's going, that they came in for a few months ago.
Oh, okay,
And they did, it looks great over there.
sure.
yeah. That's, when you see a wall laid up with that stone, you'll have no concept that it's not full thickness stone. I guarantee.
Yeah, I bet you I
No,
could take you to 10 places
You know
and you would
Nectar?
know that it's not.
You know Nectar
I
out
disagree
in-
with that.
Yeah.
Do you know Nectar out in?
Well, then, the one that you looked at
But
wasn't a good
Nectar's
application.
all that stone, so it, I
I've seen
mean,
a lot,
it's,
but that's besides the point. But
I mean, it's come a long way. I mean, we
It should.
generally wouldn't use it, but in the last like 5 years,
That's a good
we just did an addition next to a barn, and I'll bet you $100 you wouldn't know that it was different.
I think that looks the
not
same.
on
200 years
camera
old.
on TV, but
I'd bet you lunch now.
Double.
I mean, I'm amazed at the quality of this product it's developed.
It's true. That's good.
We've used it a number, we did a building off 202 looks like an old mill, and I don't think you would know that that's not dimensional hand-laid
I
stone.
don't have a problem with that material. Maybe it's more Michael's comments about how much is going on, and we're used to that last project you brought in was so clean, and I know that the existing building dictated some, but,
If I had
I
one.
mean, you're looking
thing-
at like simplifying the cornices or going to gables
Yeah, I was
on-
gonna say, if I had one thing I could do and not even change the number of materials, I think what I would ask you to do is remove the picture frame in the stone
Okay.
and have real stone corners. So that reads like a stone element, and then across the top, just do it like a flat stone arch, or do something that looks authentic. There's something about having
Michael, could
a
you say that again?
drive-it type material.
So I'd understand it.
The banding that goes
This-
around, he's saying
This,
that.
the
No,
top,
not
the
the
cornice,
top.
or in
That,
here?
yeah.
in there.
Okay.
He's saying.
Have the stone, just
If
have
that
the
was
edge be
gone
finished
and
stone,
it was
yeah.
stone,
I think it's a good
Yeah,
idea.
that's not a,
That would look better on the stones. I think that would be nice.
I think it's a good idea.
yeah, I don't think that's not a problem at all.
I think that would go a long way to simplifying some of the busy quality that I think is what's bothering me a little bit,
Eliminate the wrap on the stone.
right?
Yeah, I agree.
And then the way you've got a frame around signage or tenant signage, will that exist, or that'll exist after the tenant is determined and you see what size that would have to be?
Right now, we're just holding a spot. They're not.
But you won't actually, we don't know whether or not they're going to come in at some, I'm just thinking down the road. You don't know whether or not you're going to come in with that, is frame the right term for that?
Yeah, right now,
Yeah.
maybe I have an older one. We took off any lines that
Yeah.
suggested
It's
a
on the-
frame.
it's on the rendering.
But
It's on the
not
rendering,
the
it's
So
elevation.
I think the elevation's better,
Okay.
personally.
He's just showing
Back to
that
what
Yeah, back to
Michael
the
said.
elevation. Okay, yeah. Oh, good, okay.
Thought we, maybe this,
That might be an older. This didn't have any frame around the sign. You're talking, there was a line around the signs?
Yeah,
Right?
Yep,
Yeah, we-
okay.
that's already,
Oh, that's better.
that's an improvement already.
That is an improvement. It's less busy. It's nice. Oh, and you know what? Let's see, second, get that little
Yeah, I think
diamond
if
in
you do that
there.
And take the picture frame off of the stone elements, now you got something that's starting to settle in.
What was your feeling on the base? No, you did, I mean,
The base, at that point, the base doesn't bother me nearly as much,
okay.
because I think now it's strictly a base, and it's not a base and a stone and a wrap material all colliding into that one area.
And then looking at some kind of uniform color for an awning color. Is that- I think this was generated from input from client, from tenants that were looking at the building, that
Yeah,
they
they
wanted
wanna
to
say,
stand
"Look at
out
me,"
from the
right,
guy
"Look at
next
me
to him.
first."
Yeah.
So
Right.
we get
Well,
caught in the middle of that.
More muted in this rendering also, which is,
You know, and
wanna-
I have to say, I don't mean that, in my opinion at least, and maybe everybody on the board doesn't share it, it wouldn't have to be necessarily just one even color all the way across. It might be a two-tone scheme, but they should be very sympathetic and in the same family, maybe one's a little darker shade of another, something like that.
Okay, that's
like at
Yeah.
the entrance sort of plaza area, that, there are two different tones there that kind of complement and work together, I think.
Right.
Yeah, that's not a problem at all. Like, we can-
What are you proposing for windows or storefront system?
It's a aluminum storefront. It'll be clear anodized, and then just clear glass. No tint. The real retailers prefer.
Okay.
They don't want to see any. They want to be able to see inside their.
And then the iron railings or the aluminum railings?
These will match with the kind of the Wayne light fixture.
So black?
like a black
Charcoalish?
Yeah.
Okay, that'll look good.
I don't want to give away my age, but if you want to see something really amazing, and I think it really set a standard, go back and look at the original photographs of Suburban Square. in the 40s and 50s when that was
It was
built?
built in the 20s.
Was it?
It's the first shopping center in America.
Well, I remember in the 40s and 50s.
So you're young then,
I
that's what
want
you're
to go back to the 20s. But
Jim, you remember it from the 20s?
the architecture, the awnings,
Yeah.
it was just an amazingly classy job, and I think.
That's a good example, because Suburban Square is in the world of what needs to happen here for the owner, but it is very classy. Now, granted,
Worked
it's,
out really well, what they
And
did
they've
there.
updated it,
right,
and it's still,
it's a good point.
you know,
Your mechanical units are going to be roof mounted?
Yes.
How high is your parapet?
It varies. In some areas are like 5 or 6 feet tall,
And the lowest?
maybe about 2 feet tall.
2 feet.
This,
So-
this building, just a history, it's not one building, it was like 4 or 5 buildings.
Right.
So there's different roof heights,
Oh,
and
are there?
it's, yeah, some of the column spacing, we had to work with what the existing columns were, but they weren't regular. So
there's a strip
there's,
added to a strip added to a strip.
Well, I guess
When do you
Yeah.
think it was
the
built?
obvious question is,
Or beginning of it?
are the sight lines going to be, is that equipment going to be set back far enough and shielded behind the taller elements so that,
I mean, I think it's something we should study. Right now, we're not doing any of the mechanical, but I think because of the depth of this, you can set those back and not see them
I
from
think that's
the
going to be
street.
important. After going through all the exercise for making the facade as beautiful as you can make it, you don't want to be looking.
Oh, you don't want to see a rooftop unit sitting there, I
Range
agree with
sticking
you.
up at the-
But I think there's something quietly elegant about Suburban Square. You might just want to take a look at it.
Yeah, I know it well. I'll go.
Take a hard look at it again.
Where, you guys are just in schematics?
We're about halfway through CDs.
You're not all the way to CD.
No. We were supposed to be, but no.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the site plan, or parking and so forth? You don't, is there a landscape plan? There's not.
I mean, we're not, the lot's staying exactly how it is. I don't know, are you restriping or doing anything?
Are
Yeah,
these new, these landscape?
These planners in here and the
Planners.
rendering really aren't, just, were
They're
just
not
for the
placed
rendering,
correctly,
yeah.
okay.
Only ones that would be part of the project are the ones on the sidewalk
You
with
got
the
to deal
light
with outdoor
fixtures.
lighting. And
But all the existing lighting and parking is going to stay as is.
So you're not changing anything in the parking lot?
Correct.
The lights or anything else?
Nothing.
You
What
know,
are all
try
these
and
lights
wrap
we
it
have
up.
today?
I guess we'd like to see something maybe a little, I don't want to use the word classy, but maybe classier. And I think you'll like it, you might like it better too.
I mean, our goal is to have the best-looking project that we can have out there,
I'm
so,
assuming
you
you'll
know.
take out the Acme cart return?
No, we're going to keep those, no.
Because they add a historic element.
Yeah, that's just, we're going to go to the historic board after this.
It looks like on the left, are those luminaires that you have on the entrance? Is that the only location?
Right now, I mean, that might change based on tenant requirements.
Is that a different fixture than the goosenecks?
That's a different fixture than the goosenecks. That's the same fixture that's out at actually 200 West Lancaster.
This one, but we don't have a cut on the,
I don't think I have a cut on the goosenecks.
So are we looking at lighting? I have this, does everybody have this little package of lights?
Sort of looking at it.
Well, I mean, depending on what goes on with signage, the goosenecks could go away. I mean, that's
Yeah, it's for a different project? Oh, this
kind of a
is the other one.
placeholder right
Okay.
now.
I'm wondering what this is.
This is the gooseneck.
No, that's if you look at the last tenant on the
They're
left,
down on the-
there's some potential
Where are they?
fixtures that could go.
Oh, okay. These are,
Wait, Tony, just hold this up.
Right now, the main lighting is the lighting along the walkway. That's going to be the Madison style. And then the goosenecks, if they're in or out, based on what is going to, input we get from signage.
You know, we're all looking at the 3D rendering, but it doesn't match your elevation. So is the elevation the most current drawing?
Let me see what rendering you have.
This bad boy? This is stucco.
That should be stone. I'm not print it out.
Okay, so this is correct.
That's the correct,
All right. Yeah, because, thank you. That's
Which one is
better.
The rendering. have to realize this is sometimes a moving target, depending on what time you stop us. I think this elevation that's on this sheet here should match the rendering.
How are,
It might be.
how are y'all,
I didn't think it
I'm
was.
sorry, how are y'all handling trash and dumpsters and so forth?
The monument sign.
I might have to defer in the back is what,
The plan initially, all the dumpsters will be behind the,
Here, I have a site plan.
initially, the dumpsters for these tenants will be in the rear. Our plan is, once we are completed, our hope is that we're going to keep the compactor in place and have one compactor servicing all of the tenants. And so they'll all pay the equitable share of the trash.
What's behind this property? Residential? That little
Train.
The train,
It's a
right?
big hill.
Oh, okay.
It's about a 20, huge, tall hill, and then a train.
Okay, so we're okay, all right.
Give them the direction of it.
Here's what how close, this is what I wrote down.
No, that's true, we did.
No, I know that.
Oh,
Well, this one was contingency.
yeah, I know, when we did this last time, it's a full site. She said,
I'd like to see photos of the stone. And ultimately, then where somebody returns signage.
definitely not making this motion, because I'm a little bit
Well, I think
unsure what you're gonna go with.
I think we'd like to send you back with a homework assignment. That's okay?
okay?
And do you want to read through the list of things that you kept the notes on, or?
Well, can I technically make a motion? I don't think I can. Matt, can I make a motion?
No. I
As
can.
chair?
Could you just list the suggestions?
Yeah, we will, but
Okay.
The suggestions
And then-
that are, the suggestions that we have on our loose scroll sheet here at the
we'll make a
moment,
motion to return with
Right.
these things.
that we would, our motion's going to be, please come back and address the following kinds of items, okay? We talked about losing the banding around the stone and having the stone create the
Wrap.
corners and its own wrap. We talked about getting an awning program that's more consistent and toned down from what's shown on the rendering, which of course on the elevation sheet, they're all shown as one tone, right?
Correct.
We would like to have a schematic, if you will, signage approach. So we know where the sign position for each tenant goes, which you've started to get at here. We're going to want to make it clear that the signs aren't 24-inch tall lettering, so when you put them up there, maybe use 12 to 14 inches your top size letter. If you want to show a sign that's got logos and all, that's fine. It can be a generic thing. But we want to know, are those signs, how are they lit? Is there going to be a requirement that they're of a certain type? Or is this going to be something that is, whatever the tenant wants to come in with, we're going to end up fighting with them? We prefer not to. We prefer to have a consistent approach that unifies the project. Okay, it doesn't mean they all have to look exactly the same by a long stretch, but that the approach is consistent across the board.
Okay.
The next thing we had is and this goes part and parcel with that, is the gooseneck lighting. Is that part of the signage approach, or is it consistent, or is it in only certain places? If it is in only certain places, then we want to know, okay, well, how did you select those places, and what are you trying to achieve? And we'd want to cut on that fixture, which I don't believe was in the cut sheet. It would be helpful if you could bring us an 8x10 photo of a building with the stone that you're proposing to use, so we can see it in more of a field condition.
Bring the barn.
Bring the barn in.
That's a different stone, unfortunately.
Oh, I'd still like to see the barn.
If you're not going to be doing it yourself, at some point in time, we'd like to see a landscape planting plan. And obviously, the signage would be coming back in on a tenant-by-tenant basis, but based on hopefully some kind of a template that you guys establish as the designer of the building.
Okay.
Well, Michael, one of the things I can add to that is, we brought up 200 West a few times. John Kelly, when he came in March, they, he got it all approved that night, all the signage. And it didn't matter if it was Charles Schwab or the White
Right.
Dog, because how it was presented to the board was, here's the pin-mounted lettering.
Yep.
Here's the size height, and it all just said signage on it. And it didn't matter who came in afterwards, as long as it complied with what was approved that night. Okay, it was all under 15 feet.
Yep.
It was all under 50 square feet per signage, et cetera. And so all of that was approved. And we even approved the the monument signs that night as well, because that was all going to be consistent as well.
They were going to make the tenants conform to it.
But
Conform to that.
I think that was a very appropriate thing for him to do as an owner and for us to do as a board, especially given the fact that that is a commercial, an office kind of a use, where this, it's not common, however, for retail to all want to
Right.
have exactly the
Yeah.
same sign.
You
And I
might
don't
have a Rita's Water Ice that's going to
It's
vary.
going to be,
from-
want to be red and green.
Exactly. So it's up to, Bruce, if you want to do it that way.
It's an
but
option.
It's an option, but just remember, if it changes from that, what was approved, and you'll have to come back in,
In
so.
our experience from retail, right, if it's an office, we've done offices, and we, even with some first floor service oriented, then you can keep it consistent and it looks
Right.
beautiful. In the retail setting, those retailers want to have that street identity.
Right.
And also from the size
get
of
that.
it's the size of the lettering, the height, and we have to take a look at it. Our concern on that, of reducing the height, and I have to take a look at what 24 inches really means, is this shopping center is set back so far. At a certain point, if it gets too small, you're going to lose your ability to recognize those tenants.
But again, you're going to have a monument sign at the curb, and people are not getting in their car in Philadelphia and driving to Lancaster and saying, oh, let's run into Rita's. People are going to know what's here, and I know your tenant's going to want that, but we've been very strict in that part of downtown about maintaining heights.
Look, right across the street is the Rite Aid. Or the
CVS.
CVS. Take a look at what
They're probably,
You're talking about heights, I'm not
Right.
really, I can't visualize.
24 inches is
Yeah, I mean, I'm
It's gigantic.
That high,
It's mattress jack.
What did we,
It's-
yeah,
What
what did we make CVS do? Did we have them go to 14?
And frankly, we,
Give them a little
given the,
stretch.
given the parameters that we're asking you to set up,
well, we could look at it.
number one, it gives some direction to the signage designers for your individual tenants, which otherwise they're gonna go down a wrong road and waste a lot of time.
No, I think your suggestions are excellent.
The second thing is, though, when you look at what we do as a board, when people come in and they have something that's a little bit more creative than just your average, here's my words, they might have a logo or something like that. Maybe the logo's a little bigger, or one letter is accented because it's part of the look of the store. We tend to go with that,
And that's what we do as developers, we have a sign criteria, we always tell the people.
Yeah.
But if you have something that's.
Talk to the microphone.
Oh, you
Sorry,
know what?
you need to talk to the microphone.
So the people at home know what you're saying.
That's what we tell our tenants, so we try to keep that consistency as well, so.
Yeah, I think it works in
we're
everybody's interest, and it makes the whole process go smooth.
Okay.
I'd like to add something too, as one of the founders of the Design Review Board back in the early 90s, and I came back on the board recently. If you look at Wayne and you look at the adjoining townships, why do people want to come to Wayne? I think we've made a difference, both in signage, which is subtler and much more appealing. And I think the architecture that's reflected on the streetscape is more attractive than you'll find if you go past McDonald's going west or McDonald's going east in the other townships. So I think we're not here to give you a hard time, and a lot of times we do help you, and I think in this case we're trying to help you because we're trying to help Wayne. It's our town too. We all live here.
And let me just say one more thing too, because I know you guys are, your meter's running and so forth. I don't think any of this is irreconcilable. I think you guys can probably keep on with your construction documents. I think we're talking about details primarily, in a lot of cases, colors and finishes.
Finish.
So it's not like you're going to come in here next time and we're going to say, cut the building in half and move it back 20 feet. Don't worry about that.
Can we say that?
I don't want to say, I just
Well,
want to know.
the other thing that I would add to this list is, if you could, if there's a way for you to give us some kind of an indication about the mechanical equipment, where it's going to work and where it's not going to work. Or, if there's places that you shouldn't put it, maybe they're called out?
Just related to sightlines.
Just related to
Obviously, you
sight.
hadn't done any
Yeah,
engineering.
we don't want to see a lot of junk on the roof from the street.
Well, I'm sure they don't either.
Yeah, I
No.
think we
No,
all
no,
agree
you'll
with
want to
that.
hide that
Okay.
with the roof.
Could you repeat, Michael, what was the first one about banding around stone?
The banding detail that's shown on the elevation in the stone areas is going to be removed so that it's all stone.
Thank you.
Okay.
Did
Did anybody have any other?
I don't know how you do the arch with applied stone, but you figured it out.
It's a miracle of modern technology.
They'll figure it out.
I thought your suggestions were good and subtle enough that maybe they won't be difficult to execute, but I think they'll make a pretty big difference in the appearance.
Yeah, like the awnings that's I mean.
Yeah, the
that's-
awnings and taking
that's
away that
easy.
The band, that's.
surround.
Okay, any other comments? Matt?
Well, I don't particularly like this stuff, but you guys outvoted me on that one, so. I'll give it-
Matt wants you to
In
cut
the
the building in
world
half
of,
and push it.
Commercial buildings, we live with that stuff.
I mean, CVS is 100%, well, not, they got some brick or something. But Matt, CVS is 90% that.
Really ugly.
Drive it here.
Well, the bank next door is all
I agree,
drive
but-
it.
It has a different look on CVS. When you mix it up with all these different textures.
When you're going
it
in
just-
there for your, whatever you need.
What's the
Okay.
generic name?
So I
All right.
guess, I
I
guess
like-
So we
I like
have
the
a
retail.
motion.
I'm
the
not
motion on the
upset about
table is that we
building the retail.
return
I just think
hopefully
it
to the
looks
next meeting
Okay.
with addressing those several points that we just reviewed. And Matt, do you have them written?
I have them all written,
Do
and I'll send a
you want
letter
to just
out.
recite them one more time, or they're going to get
I'm okay with, I feel pretty comfortable unless
Okay.
you want me to go over them.
Okay.
I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page, that's all. So will they get a memo to that
Yep,
effect?
I
or
will send a
something?
letter out in the next day or two.
Thank you.
Okay, and I marked up on my elevation here as well,
Great.
so.
All right, so do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Would you like this back?
Got your break?
Yeah.
Okay.
Matt. Is this yours?
Yeah.
Okay, so 950 Haverford Road is being continued till next month, which brings us to
Very
OD, why, oh, outdoor dining. OD-09-03, Teresa's Cafe and Bar, 124, 126 North Wayne Avenue, an application for outdoor dining. Welcome, and thanks for your patience.
I don't have as nice drawings as he has. Sorry.
That's right, you have an established restaurant.
You have a nice look already.
Yeah, it does look very.
Mine's brick.
I'm sorry, you're?
Mine's all brick.
All right.
I'm Michael Ellis from Teresa's Cafe. I own the business, cafe and bar. We're looking to, I'm going to put some pictures out of the tables and chairs if you can see them.
I guess my first question is.
Sure.
After how many years? 10 years?
13.
How do
13.
you keep consistently so good?
Well, thank you very much.
That
We
is-
try. We're trying as
That
hard
must
as
be the
possible.
toughest mission you can do as a restaurateur.
It is. It's extremely hard. A lot of my kitchen staff who you don't see have been with me for almost 11 years, a couple of them. And one of my managers, who's now a partner also, Andy Dickerson, who's there all the time and is partnered in the bar side and now in the cafe side, has been there for almost 10 years now, too. So that helps,
Great.
having people.
Well,
Yeah,
you do a
just,
great
just
job.
on the outside chance that there is someone watching who hasn't been to Teresa's, which I find hard to imagine, Wayne, you should tell them where it is, because every now and then someone will say to me, oh, I saw that show.
Well, that's
This.
in here, but unfortunately,
No.
I didn't get that in time for the signage, but.
But I mean, you should tell, just
Yeah,
because it's on TV, where you are. and-
124 North Wayne Avenue. We're right on the center of North Wayne Avenue, headed towards the train station. As you're going up the hill on the left-hand side. Brick building, very small sign right now, which is another issue. What we're looking to do today, basically, is for outdoor dining, which we're undecided whether we want to do complete outdoor dining throughout the whole year, because we really don't have much sidewalk there.
Well, you can't do throughout the year, right, Matt?
Well, not throughout the year, I'm sorry, the dining period, which I believe
Yeah,
is
April to October.
April to September in that
October,
area.
yeah.
Our main issue is jazz festival and fall festivals. little did we know, we did the Jazz Festival, thought we had complete approval from the LCB, and a month after the festival found out we did not, because we never had approval from the township for outdoor dining.
Oh, you're kidding.
So they didn't tell, they're very, the reason this came out so late was because I just found out last week that I needed approval for the Fall Festival. They've had my application since August. So basically, we're trying to do outdoor dining for Jazz Festival and Fall Festival. We may eventually do outdoor dining for both locations. As you can see, we can only fit 7 tables at the most. And the cafe side, the original side, there's a flower box out there that I would have to remove, and the sidewalk slopes a lot. So we're undecided on that, but I do want to get the approvals in case we decide to, and I need the approvals for the LCB so we can do
So you can
Jazz
participate.
Festival, Fall Festivals.
Right.
And that's what we're looking to do. If we do eventually do outdoor dining, these are the table and chair combinations I like. They're stainless steel and aluminum. The table is stainless steel top, and then the base and legs are aluminum. The same with the chairs, aluminum legs. And it looks like wicker, but it's actually like
Synthetic.
a synthetic polyurethane with a metal inside. They hold up very well. Nice, simple. The burgundy would match the awnings that we currently have. And
What's your first name?
Michael.
Michael. You go to Madison Avenue in New York, Palm Beach. You'll see a lot of restaurants that have folding, that the facade becomes folding doors. Now, this creates a problem. I don't know about air conditioning.
Yes.
I don't know about flies, things like
Bugs.
that. But it lets the inside of so you don't have that demarcation between people sitting outside and the facade and people sitting inside.
Like the
Kind of
pub just
inside.
did. The
You know what I
pub
mean?
just-
Right.
The pub just
Cindy?
did that.
Right.
Yeah, like the pub just did.
Christopher's has,
Christopher's, no, did they? I don't
they
think.
have windows that open.
Yeah.
I used to have a restaurant
Kelly's
that I
has
used to
it in
oversee
Brentwood.
that had one like that.
And
I
then
don't know if it worked.
Boathouse
it's gonna
has
work in
windows
Wayne,
that open.
but I thought it would be.
It would
Well,
work-
we have a little bit of an elevation.
You spend him another $100,000.
What about on
Yeah,
Teresa?
that too.
Yeah, right.
And it goes up to the landlords whether
When you
they're
come into
allowed
that
to.
money, what about the Teresa's next door? That
Yeah,
would, because they
that's-
have. Is that-
We just did those windows
They're-
2
it
years
really
ago.
looks nice. Is the planter, is that brick?
It's brick.
Yeah.
Yes. It's easily removed if we do it. The problem there is that the front of the building slopes, or
know.
the sidewalk slopes, I should say.
Down
I
towards
would literally
30.
have to build that up and level it out for the
You don't
proper
own the
seating.
building? Do you own the
No,
building?
I wish I did.
I know.
No. They will
I
not
just
sell
didn't know
it.
if you could do that indoor, outdoor.
I know it's possible. The problem we have in this climate, in this part of the country, is bugs. And then they get into the restaurant. It's bad enough just
And the
opening
air
and closing the doors, and air conditioning, which has always been a problem for us anyway. But I have considered that, but then where the window is, the current height of the cafe side is
Yeah.
about 3 feet, so I'd
The
have to
devil's in the details.
cut all that out. I've considered it, believe me, I've considered it, but I'm not sure the outside dining is that attractive as opposed to a 90-degree day sitting inside. And we see outdoor dining from what we see up and down the street, and it's good on the nice day, but
Yes.
that's half of the summer, and it's really not that attractive to us.
So are you proposing 4 tops out there?
Yes, yes.
And Matt, what are the rules, clearance from
4 feet.
the edges?
48 inches from the curb to the closest seat needs to be. It looks like you meet that
We
requirement.
have 13 feet, but I'm open to suggestions on that. I know Christopher's down the street does 4 tops. His are rectangular tables that go out, whereas these were actually a smaller table, square, and they wouldn't be as far deep.
Are they
or-
30-inch tables, did you say?
Actually, they're 24.
24s, huh?
The reason being is they would be more of a cocktail-style atmosphere out there, smaller menu, not something we would be serving our full menus out. We really can't, because of the entrance egress in and out of the restaurants, we really can't serve them well. So we're thinking cocktails and appetizers out there only.
Where's the meter? Where are the meters? Are the meters going to be a problem?
No, the meters are literally about 6 inches off of the curbs there. If you know how the brick is, they're in the middle of that brick, which is only about 12 inches, I
Yeah.
believe. Measuring from the building to the outside of the curb is 13 feet. It's not, it seems like more on there than it actually is walking up down the sidewalk.
Right.
But looking at what the pub has done and what Christopher's have done and everyone else up and down the street, we were actually further in than the majority of them.
So Michael, you're asking us to approve all of this, but it's likely that initially you would only do the seating right in front of next door because that's where you have this, is that right? You wouldn't do it?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Initially, we're only going to do, we're looking for the Fall Festival, which
Yep.
is the 20th of this month.
You're actually not planning on any of this, you just need the approvals.
I need the approvals, and then I need the approvals so that I can go to the Board of Commissioners to get
Right.
the approvals through my liquor license.
And if you do decide to do it, this is what.
That's
you
what I
do.
would do, yes.
Oh, come
Yeah,
on,
and
do it.
I have no
I
problem
like to
with
go
it.
sit out there.
I don't, serving
All right,
is hard.
I have no
So
So
problem.
basically, as long as you keep the seating within, say, 8 feet of the face of the building,
Right.
you're good.
We'll be within eight feet.
You might want to look at rotating them.
I consider rectangular tables, the same
Well,
as
you could
Christopher's
turn the
does, which
square
would be,
diagonal.
if this was the facade of the building going out this way and then 4 seats this way. This actually ended up being slightly shorter, if I was looking at, depth-wise,
No,
but
I think.
I'm open
Try
to either
rotating them
suggestion.
45 degrees.
On a star style.
Yeah, because then the guys won't be banging into each other, and the other person won't be banging into the window, and
That's what we do in the restaurant. In the cafe side, we do that right now to try and, they're all tight no matter what you do.
but if you have about an 8-foot zone there, you can try a whole bunch of different. You can be
Right.
able to even stack
I was looking at this as a small table and 4 seats, how originally it was 2 seats, and that seemed to not make sense for 4
Basically,
tables.
You've got a working footprint, and you can do whatever you want to within the footprint.
As long as I stay within the 4 feet walkway.
Right.
So we can approve it.
I think it looks great.
Yeah.
I mean, the furniture looks very nice.
Yep.
Thank you, thank you.
So do we have a motion?
Sure. I move that we approve the outdoor seating for Teresa's Cafe and Bar, DRB OD 0903.
Is there a second?
Second. Third.
All in favor?
Fourth.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Nice job.
Thank you.
I have another question, since I'm here, if you have time. We're looking at and I'd like your opinions on this, we're looking at signage for the restaurant. And sorry, I don't have a lot of prints on this, but I'm looking at doing one of these wall signs. I'll just give you a copy of this.
Perpendicular.
That's all I
Doesn't-
Can you guys pass it down?
Did you come here 13 years ago?
What's the allowed?
have. Did I?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Because I was on the board then. And you talked about that
It's in the downtown.
you were affiliated with a restaurant in Princeton with the
Yes,
same name?
I was partners in those restaurants, yes.
There's a max.
See, I have a good memory.
You do, because most people,
Is there still an affiliation there?
no,
I've eaten
no,
in
I
that.
was,
like
I
yours.
was, and it, basically I had a confidentiality agreement that I couldn't go out and do another restaurant for 5 years, so I left my partnership and came here, and, because I lived here and drove to Princeton every day. And did my own restaurant, so now I drive 1 mile versus
But there's no limit on
70
how far you
miles.
can
My
stick
office
out
is right across the
from the
street
building.
from
Oh,
the
okay.
restaurant. So I watched when the renovation went on with such excitement, because do you remember what there was in Wayne? Like 2
Yes.
closed banks, the
Everything.
wedding shop, the Hallmark
I
party.
remember everything up and down the street. and
I do
what's been
too. We were
around.
constantly, what is coming? Oh my gosh, this is so wonderful.
I've
We
been
didn't want to
eating
tell
there.
anybody because we wanted it to be a surprise.
I've been eating there twice a week for the last 13 years, so.
Thank you,
Just
thank
look
you,
at
you're
it.
supporting
I've been
us.
trying not to. And I've known Andy Dickerson
Well,
since he was like, you know,
He's getting a little older now. So am I.
he loves what, he gets so excited about the restaurant.
He does.
Can I see the
I guess, I can't say the sign company did that rendering. What it looks like from on the building looks dimensionally all wrong. But I'm looking at the basic idea, and I just wanted to get your opinion of what your thoughts are, because reading through what I found through the Wayne overlay is different than what's under your.
Right.
Yeah.
And it made it very confusing to me, and I'd like to just try and get an
Yeah,
opinion.
Matt, just give us the regs. It's 30-inch projection, 4 square feet, the sign itself, not the bracket. Is it? Oh, is it? So it looks like it conforms. It's nice looking. I think I might
It's
say
very
is
simple.
you've got a nice little funky aesthetic there. You might zip it up a little bit.
We don't have much signage right now because we took down the
You took
original
down the
big
big
sign
trees
we
and
had. And then we just did a plain awning to cover the windows and make it look a little cleaner and more uniform between the two
Let me
sides.
tell you something, you don't even need a sign.
Believe it or not, other restaurants telling me that customers are coming in asking where we're at.
Really?
We have this little vinyl one above the window, above the door.
Yeah, it's kind of odd that you
And
don't have
and you
something
can't
really.
see it. But my other question about this is there's no lighting allowed on these, according to regulations, and no
Well, there's a street
reflective
lamp
material.
not that far away.
And no reflective paint on it too, which was a question about how do you see it at night?
Well, you'd have to be out there at night and look. See this street lamp down?
The street lamp's literally almost in front of our door, so that would help it, but no reflective material on it wouldn't help it at all.
If you had
It's really
maybe
a nice
goose-
design.
If you had gooseneck lighting and it was placed properly over your regular sign, that might eliminate, no?
This is, he's proposing a purple.
Actually, right now, we have no. This is a terrible copy, but we have no signage at this point, other than just above the door, there's a little oval with the name in it. And actually under here, behind the flowers, there's that, which is gonna come
You know,
off.
up here, you have a flat sign that says Teresa's Cafe.
Not there anymore. This is exactly what we have right now.
You can't have both, though. You can't
Well,
have
here's your,
nothing.
this
So
is,
I have nothing. No, I'd like to do that, but my question, I wanted to make sure this fits into what you're looking at.
this is the section you gotta look at here.
I did look through
9 to 12 feet.
zoning and not
You're,
through
you're,
business overlay.
it's the same thing. You have the
I
Wayne
mean, the
business
flag
is-
sign's okay as long as it's 7'6" above the,
Yeah,
and it's fixed.
There's the dimensions.
No, it has to be between 9 and 12.
9, are you at 9?
Underside of the sign has to be 9 feet over the sidewalk.
Right.
Oh, 9? I thought it was
Yeah, it
7.
should be
I
9 and
actually did
12.
measure it.
Oh, the
Comment
awning.
on it.
And 30 inches and then 12 inches, so it's,
We actually went by
it's
those
okay. Yeah,
dimensions.
you're okay.
So I can just finish that and submit it then.
So, but if, Michael, somebody's standing looking at the facade of your restaurant, the sign is perpendicular to that with the proposed sign. Because I've been kind of thinking the same thing for another location and thinking, is that really, you can see it when you're walking up and down.
But that's
This
where
has to be
98% of the
I
people
was gonna
are
say
walking up.
98%
Yeah,
of
it's
people
true,
walking
walking
down
up
the
and down.
street.
I know.
And that's where they don't see it from coming up and down the street.
Right.
Right, so maybe
Because
that is,
when we had our flat sign on the building, they actually did not.
Would drive
even
by it.
The big one we had, they did not see it.
now, do you need two, are you two restaurants still? Are you, so should there be
Well-
two signs or no?
No, one sign, it's all Teresa's. It's
Okay,
all
good.
Teresa's. Even though we call it bar and cafe, it's all Teresa's.
You'd certainly see that from the north side with that street lamp. Look where the street lamp is. If you're mounting it in the brick
It's
between the
almost
two.
parallel to it almost.
No, that looks, no,
The street lamp's very, very, almost in front of it.
no. If you're putting it
Oh,
here,
okay, right,
that's definitely going to illuminate it.
right.
You might have a problem from this side.
There is another one up here.
Yeah.
But it says that there's no reflective material allowed on the sign, that's
You could
silver.
use,
Maybe you could use a
gold
different
paint.
color. I mean,
You could
that's
use
Or
really
we're gonna
nice.
use silver,
Or
just
silver
paint.
outlining it.
And you can put
Not very
goosenecks, you can
reflective,
put,
but just
That's
you
not
can put
reflective,
gooseneck
that's
lighting
silver
on the
on your building.
sign. No, you can put gooseneck lighting on.
But instead of black letters,
They're
do,
not allowed to.
do silver letters. But
You don't
why
have
have a
lighting on your
black,
building?
Reflective,
why have a black field? Just make the
reflective
letters
means-
silver, the entire letter.
Well, we were gonna do black, it's a wood car sign, stand out, so that the lettering would be black and then silver around the edge.
If
But
you really
that's
want to
silver-
see it
that's
more,
silver paint,
make
right?
the black
it's
silver.
not spectral
No,
metal.
it's not.
Right, so then it's not reflective.
Yeah. It'll work.
It's not reflective. I just, well, since I'm here, I get.
Yeah, it's nice, we
Yeah.
like it. And it's
If you
not
don't mind,
floppy,
I'll
right?
take this back.
The other thing you could do
No,
is,
it's actually hard
Sorry, I
mount,
marked
I
it
read
up.
that too.
the other
Sorry,
thing you
Mark,
could
put up
do would
with
be
the 9 feet.
to, instead of your burgundy background, because that's what your awnings are,
Right.
go with a contrasting background, like a yellow or something that's lighter.
I could,
It'd be
would
no-
make it
That's
stand
gonna
out.
make your,
That
that's
would
gonna
make
make your
it
black
stand out.
letters stand out.
Get fries? What's wrong?
I just thought it'd stay the
still
same
like
color,
you
because we never did the chairs outside and the awning and everything kind of goes burgundy.
I get that because they come with.
I'm the opposite of what.
Okay. All right, folks, we're still officially meeting on television. Maybe we should.
I'm sorry.
No, just don't want to say something on the air that's.
I'll just,
She said we like the fries, next door.
thank you. That's something we worked on for quite a long time, actually. When we can get the right potatoes, sometimes they change on us, but, okay, so I'll submit this hopefully next month.
All right, great.
All right, thank you for your help.
Okay, do we have any more business before the board? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So
So
moved.
moved. Okay, thank you.